What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to Bring the Juice Colts podcast. This is Derek, along with my other co-host, Max. You guys have seen these before. We are doing another film breakdown of the Indianapolis Colts versus the Denver Broncos. Colts went into a hostile environment and did end up taking the win, despite there not being a touchdown in either side of the field here. It was a very interesting game, to say the least, but we're going to break down some of the good and the bad. Max, what was your feelings on the game?
I felt like this was one of the most sloppiest games I've ever seen in football since I've been watching football, really. If this team is if Frank Reich is gonna save his job at the end of the year, this team needs to come out firing on all cylinders the rest of the season.
Yep, and we'll get down to some of the good and some of the bad of what we saw in this game. So first play we're going to show here, first drive, Denver Broncos, 3rd and 2 situation. Colts have 4 up front, 7 in the box. You have the free safety looming down, showing that kind of full package. You then have what looks to be man-to-man straight up front with all 3 of the corners. What you're going to see here is Jerry Jeudy at the bottom right of your screen make a simple slant route and just absolutely burn Brandon Faison here off the route. Ultimately ends up getting a huge first down at about a 10 to 12 yard gain on that play. Max, what did you see with this?
So right here we have 4 down linemen, as you said, 2 linebackers with Rodney McLeod sitting in the box. Up top here, we had Rodney Thomas shading over to the strong side over the 2 wide receivers to give help to Kenny Moore and Brandon Faison, leaving the middle of the field open. But Brandon Faison obviously got beat off the ball, got jabbed to the left a little bit. Jerry Jeudy moves inside on the slant, and that's an obvious first down on a crucial 3rd down on this drive.
Thankfully, it wasn't much of anything for the majority of this game. You know, Jerry Jeudy that was only one of his 3 catches throughout the whole night. So thankfully, it didn't end up being more than just this. But ultimately, Brandon Faison just gets completely burnt, and Kenny Moore trying to make sure to remind him of trying to be more on top of that play. Here in this situation, guys, it was a 2nd or 3rd down here. The Colts go heavy front here, have 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage, Zaire Franklin in the middle. They have Byron Cowart, Grover Stewart, Dion Jackson. So bringing a very big, heavy package here while DeForest Buckner is off the field. Here you're going to see Melvin Gordon just try to run a halfback dive right here to the right side, and Byron Cowart and Grover Stewart were having none of it. Colts here are going to see a run package. You got 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage. EJ Speed, you got Dion Jackson, Grover Stewart, and Byron Cowart, who is secretly having a really decent season at stopping the run there on the left side. The Broncos are going to run a halfback dive here, just try to do mano-a-mano with the Colts. And Grover Stewart and Byron Cowart were having none of it on this play. So what you see here, you're going to see a halfback dive here for the Broncos, and Cowart just blows this play up. Really fantastic play there by Cowart. Does a fantastic job of plugging the hole. Grover Stewart not getting pushed back at all. What did you see on this play here, Max?
Well, this is a fantastic play by Byron Cowart on this play. Blows up Garrett Bowles, the pulling left tackle, in a little slide formation and try to get over, break up a hole for Melvin Gordon, but Byron Cowart has none of it and blows up the play for a negative gain.
One of the big plays that we've seen from the Colts when it came to stopping the run, even though Denver did have a decent day running the football, that was certainly not one of them. So what you're going to see here, guys, is 4 wide receivers. Denver's going to go for the end zone here. Colts just have 5 guys running in. Zaire Franklin's covering, I think that's Jeudy on the inside here. Judy's just going to take a simple out route, hoping that his speed's going to beat Zaire Franklin or whoever's in the middle. Russell Wilson tries to fit this ball in, and it's great coverage by Zaire Franklin on this. is an incomplete pass. Huge play for Zaire Franklin. And as much as we like to keep hating on Zaire Franklin at times, Max, for occasionally Zaire Franklin getting out of place in pass coverage, this was one of those where he saved a touchdown.
Right. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself, but it is still scary that Gus Bradley's still putting linebackers on these star wide receivers, especially in the red area where if Jerry Jeudy runs a little better route and not a fly, if he runs it in or an out or maybe a double move or a hitch, I don't know if Zaire can keep up with that or if he has the body control to keep up like a DB might be able to and jump that route. It's still kind of a flawed system in a way. Although this defense did hold here for the struggling Denver offense.
So what you're going to see here, guys, one of the few big plays made by Dion Jackson in this game had to come in clutch with Jonathan Taylor and Hines not available in this game. You had to have somebody step up, and Dion Jackson was one of the few guys, especially early in this game, that was really trying to make plays for this team and really does a fantastic job with this one. It's just going to be a simple slip screen. Pocket collapses in on Ryan. He's just able to get it off. Dion Jackson makes a great catch and makes two defenders miss in the open field. Gets one of the biggest plays for the Colts all day. You're going to see the pocket collapse. Jackson makes a great catch here. Whoop! That spin move, just a beauty. It was one of the biggest things that was possibly there all day. I mean, Max, for one guy that, we kept talking about who was going to step up offensively, and Dion Jackson had to be that guy in this game.
Absolutely. With your top two running backs out in this game, Nyheim Hines going down early in the game with a concussion, you needed Dion Jackson to step up in a big way in this game and get this offense moving down the field on a very important drives to get this offense at least in some type of rhythm. This is one of the few drives that this offense was in rhythm, and Dion Jackson helped spark this offense all game. And I think he deserves more playing time as the season moves forward.
So what you're going to see here, guys, is a little bit of a counter play here. You're basically just going to give this ball to Melvin Gordon here and a run to the outside here. You're hoping that these wide receivers, Cleveland and Jeudy out here, are going to be able to seal off this edge and be able to get some kind of penetration here, especially since the Colts have, this huge gap in the B gap here. You're hoping that something's going to open up here for Denver with that opening, but Yannick Ngakoue and Kenny Moore play this perfectly. Don't lose ground. Kenny Moore beats the receiver on the inside, and Yannick Ngakoue doesn't get bullied by the double team, and Melvin Gordon has nowhere to go on this play. And he just ends up getting no yards. It was one of the many plays Kenny Moore played well in. Max, you and I just said it recently. This was probably Kenny Moore's best game of the season so far.
Absolutely. He had a ton of big plays in this game, ton of clutch plays as well with breaking up the pass to the tight end later in the game as well that I think we're going to exploit. But yeah, he had many he played well in the run game this game. He didn't lose contain on many drives where it was the quite opposite earlier in the season. And it was a much better showing for this defense and for Kenny Moore especially in this game.
You want to look to see Kenny Moore continue to do more stuff like this in the run game because, he's such a great tackler and, you want to see more of that from him. So hopefully we continue to see more of this kind of Kenny Moore as the season goes on because the Colts are really going to need it. All right, guys. So this is a huge third down stop here. This really helped set the tone for the Indianapolis Colts defense. What you're going to see here, it ends up being a sack by Yannick Ngakoue over there on the right side. He's going to get chipped by the tight end before he ends up coming in. But also keep a very close eye on DeForest Buckner on the right side with him. This whole play happens because of DeForest Buckner taking on the double team and forcing the double team to take him backwards. And Yannick Ngakoue just files in afterwards after Russell Wilson feels like he has to step into the pocket because of the pressure by DeForest Buckner, and he has nowhere to go. As you see there, pressure just built directly from DeForest Buckner right there in the middle, and Yannick just never got pressured off the edge. I mean, this was one of the big sacks of the day, Max, and I mean, it was great to see Yannick and DeForest Buckner get back to their forms.
Absolutely. This is a big play in this game by this Colts defense. Dion Ngakoue had a great game, except for losing Gatan and Russell Wilson on one third down late on their Broncos' first drive earlier in the game. It was a great scheme by Gus Bradley on this defensive line. This twist, the Broncos couldn't pick it up. Russell Wilson steps up in the pocket, like you said, because of the pressure by DeForest Buckner. Sack by this Colts defense. Hit a very important sack at that.
There's a lot more plays in this game, guys, that I wish we could continue to show you, because there's probably about 10 or 20 good plays by this Colts defense that we could show you, but obviously we don't have that amount of time. But there are so many more plays just like this from DeForest Buckner and these other defensive linemen really stepping up in this game. Fantastic to watch. All right, guys, so this one's going to obviously look at Stephon Gilmore here. Stephon Gilmore, probably the best defensive player all game for the Indianapolis Colts, really showing you in this game why the Colts brought him here. After this game, he is actually graded as the third best corner in the NFL at the moment. So this guy putting on a display. Here he's going to just be one-on-one on Courtland Sutton. Sutton's just going to try and do a simple fade vertical and just try to beat Stephon Gilmore off the edge. Russ just looks straight to the left, tries to find Sutton. But what you're going to see is Gilmore lock with Sutton at the top of the route and then never lose track of him the whole way and almost pushes him out of bounds, making the window for the completion that much more difficult. You see the eyes of Stephon Gilmore, and the great part about him is he's such a technician, Max. When you see him gain access to Sutton, he's not afraid of the contact. And when he gets contact, he feels comfortable with looking back at the quarterback to see where this ball's going and to be able to know where it's coming from. That's a veteran corner making a veteran play.
Absolutely. This is what he said when he got here in his opening press conference. He plays with his smarts and not so much with his body anymore, not so much with his quickness anymore, because as you get older, that's naturally going to slow down. So, he is so football smart. He has those football smarts, that football intelligence that this team and this organization loves. And that's one of the reasons why he's here, because players like this he was a big acquisition this offseason, and pushing and trying to get leverage and getting that leverage, winning this route on Courtland Sutton, who is a Pro Bowl wide receiver, is not an easy thing to do. And the fact that he's doing this in his 30s is still impressive, and he's still got gas left in the tank. And this
absolutely. And this is just one of the many plays that Stephon Gilmore made in this game. So we'll be continuing to show more, but that's just another one that a lot of people just aren't talking about, but a great play. All right, guys. So what you're going to see here, you're just going to see a halfback counter here coming back into the right side. You're going to see Granson motion to the right, then motion back to the left. And when this play ends up taking off, it's going to be another crackback block for Granson blocking the outside end here. And then it's just straight front man-to-man, take out somebody, and then try to get to the second edge. While this only gets about 4 or 5 yards on this play, I think this schematically, the Colts had a better run play scheme going against the Denver Broncos than what they had against Tennessee. It allowed hard runners like Dion Jackson and Phillip Lindsay to get decent yardage on these types of runs, as you'll see here. Ranson comes back, just going to motion out to the right, and then Lindsay just hits the hole, shoots the gap, and gets 5 yards. May not look like anything crazy, but that was the kind of stuff, Max, that we really needed to see from the Colts. And I think they did a better job of executing it. This is the first time that I saw them execute blocking schemes as well as they did since Houston.
Absolutely. All this offensive line is getting pushed better than it has been the last 4 weeks, as you said, since Houston. I don't know whether that was because of the new offensive line changes that they made going into this game. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think it was because of the backs. I mean, those are probably the top two backs in the league of what they do. Nyheim Hines with receiving and Jonathan Taylor is probably the top running back in the NFL right now. He hasn't had a great season up to this point, but he is one of the best running backs in the league up to this point. But yes, this offense has been sputtering, and this offensive line did get better push all night against the Denver Broncos.
And then the next play here, guys, that you're going to see, the best run from Phillip Lindsay all night long, and the Colts execute this blocking scheme perfectly. Pryor sets the edge on the right side. Kylan Granson gets up to the second level on the linebacker and makes a beautiful play, and then another crackback block where Quentin Nelson will pull to the right and seal the edge, and allowing Phillip Lindsay to just do this halfback draw right up the middle. Doolin makes another great block on the corner that's up here at the top of the screen. And then Lindsay just has one guy to beat on the right side, and he breaks one tackle, and it's one of the best runs the Colts had all night. And then there's Phillip Lindsay just doing what he does. Phillip Lindsay, again, having a fantastic night, and that was one of the better plays. This is honestly one of the better running plays I've seen from the Colts all season, Max. I mean, they executed this. This is just reminding you of what the Colts did last year. It's like, where has this offensive line been?
Absolutely, exactly. And we were talking about this earlier. They need to pull out Quentin Nelson way more than they have been. He's a $20 million a year guard, and he needs to be used like it. This is another great hole, another great night by this offensive line. A great night by this offensive line, I should say. They did not have many great days. But yeah, this offensive line was working all night, was working this Denver D-line. And by the time this game was over, this Denver defense was absolutely gassed.
So this was one of the two interceptions by Matt Ryan in this game. Both interceptions coming from the free safety Caden Stearns in this game. This is one that really left me speechless, because for as much crap as we gave this Colts offensive line all season, this is one of the few times where Matt Ryan had all the time in the world to make this throw, and everything about the way he dissects this route and these route combinations is just bad. Because what you're going to see is you have Paris Campbell up at the top, who's just going to run a straight vert and take that corner with him, or hope to take that corner with him. Michael Pittman's just going to run an out route on a 7-yard out route, and this route is open at the top of it, and Matt Ryan does not throw this. And then Kylan Granson is trying to find his way in the middle of the field here on an in route, and then Mo Cox is just going to run a drag, which isn't open for the majority of the route. So what you're going to see is Matt Ryan just ultimately decide to throw it into triple coverage with Kylan Granson in the middle of this zone coverage, and it just ends up being one of the worst throws that we've seen from Matt Ryan all season. And it just gets picked off. In this situation, Max, I mean, I know we like to a lot of times say that you just need to throw that away. That really felt like a play here that he should have thrown away, because he, like I told you before we started recording this, he definitely does not hit Pittman at the top of this route when he definitely could have. And then Mo Cox was open at the end of this route because there was a little bit of space out here where there was nobody to get him, but instead tries to push it here to Granson for no reason.
Right. And I feel like he's not trusting this offensive line enough to give him enough time, because usually he's usually used to having those 3-step drops and getting the ball out or getting hit. He's not used to having that amount of time, and he's probably looking down at protection, having that in his back of his mind, like, oh, when am I going to get hit? But yes, it is concerning, because as we've done these film sessions throughout the weeks, we've seen many instances where Matt Ryan has missed wide open receivers down the field, 20 yards, 30 yards down the field. We've seen so many misses to Paris Campbell, struggling to get him going. Alec Pierce is open most of the time. Deep out routes, deep crossers, deep dovers. And it's very concerning that Matt Ryan isn't seeing the whole field. And when you don't trust protection, it makes it tougher. It makes it tougher on your whole offense when the quarterback doesn't trust your protection. So,
Yep.
and that you see one of those instances here.
Yep. What's going on, everybody? Today, I wanted to talk to you about our sponsor, BetStamp. Now, I know what you're thinking. Derek, another betting app? What is so different about this one now? Well, I got to tell you guys, I'm not into online gambling a whole lot and bets online and everything, but I got to tell you, BetStamp is one of the coolest things I have ever seen in regards to betting online. The great thing about BetStamp is it allows you to see all the different odds from all different sports books and see which one provides you the best odds possible for any game or scenario you want to bet on for your pick versus some of the worst. BetStamp allows you to also buy and sell picks that you have without worrying about losing your money or having any issues with it. Believe me, it's all free. I mean, look at this, guys. You have an option for every game across all different kinds of leagues in a ton of different ways. You have baseball, you have college football, UFC, NBA, and NFL. Great for the NFL season now being here. And if I wanted to bet on this Tennessee Titans versus Buffalo Bills game, it shows me in real time what are the best odds, which sports book I'm going to get the best offer from versus some of the worst ones. Because why would you want to earn less money from PointsBet when you could be winning more from ProLine Plus? Again, a great thing that BetStamp offers you, allowing you to make more money for the same pick just with a different sports book. How easy is that? And the great thing is there's not just games. There's player props, there's game props, there's lines, there's live tracking. There's a ton of great ways to make bets and picks on BetStamp, guys. Totally a cool thing to use. I highly encourage you check it out if you're into any kind of online betting. Even if you're not, give it a check. See what you like about it, because I think I actually enjoy using it. But the best way to get an edge on online sports betting is having multiple accounts at different sports books. Be sure to hit the BetLink page, betstamp.app/onboarding. Be sure to check out the BetStamp app or online, and be sure to use the referral code JUICE, plug in your state, and you'll get access to all their affiliates and their prices once you open it up, seeing all states' lines. Be sure to check this out, guys. You won't want to miss it for the best odds on your next sports bet. So right here, guys, the Colts are making it all the way down to the field. Matt Ryan making some great throws to his wide receivers. Colts are moving the ball very well on this drive. Play prior to this, Matt Ryan gets put in the spin cycle and ends up getting another sack, and then taking another sack and fumbling the football again to where they move all the way back to the 30. So the Colts were in position to get into the red zone and make a score and then end up getting sacked. And then this is the next play following this. And this isn't the first time that this will happen either. Braden Smith and Matt Pryor, obviously some either miscommunication or something happens here, but this right end here is going to do a stunt with the defensive tackle to where he goes inside. Matt Pryor never initiates contact with Bradley Chubb out here on the edge. And Bradley Chubb is just going to take it in because Braden Smith never comes off the block that he's on. And Bradley Chubb gets a free lane to Matt Ryan for another 10-yard sack that kicks them out of field goal range. And this is one where, I mean, this is just simply Matt Pryor missing a block. I mean, we saw that we're going to see this multiple times throughout the game, but Matt Pryor having just such issues with this, and this was really sickening to watch, Max, because, you know, how many times we saw in this game where the Colts make it all the way down to the 30-yard line, and then a play like this happens to stall the drive.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. We've seen it way too many times, especially throughout this game. I just don't understand. I mean, leave it to the Colts offensive line to screw up, to get down that far in the red zone, be ready to score, be right before half, get a big touchdown, get on the board, get knocked out of field goal range, get 2 sacks in a row, make it 3rd and 30 instead of 1st and goal. You know, it's just I think the scapegoat at the end of the season is going to be Chris Jauser. I don't know if they're going to make a change in season. If they keep having more games like this throughout the season, if this is a competitive streak or repetitive streak the next few weeks, I can see the scapegoat of Chris Jauser and then fire Frank Reich at the end of the season. But this is just unacceptable. Like Matt Ryan is just getting hit way too much. And Matt Ryan's not playing his best football, as we've highlighted throughout this film session. But it's also on the offensive line, and Matt Ryan not trusting the protection, and it's affecting the whole team. And it just they keep shooting themselves in the foot, and it's getting tough to watch.
Absolutely. Here, guys, you're going to see another sack from DeForest Buckner in this game. Again, like we mentioned, was involved in a bunch of big plays, and this was just another one of them. He's just going to be one-on-one here with the right guard. And this is really what you want to see from DeForest Buckner in these situations. When you see him one-on-one, you really hope he takes advantage of the one-on-ones. That's why so many teams refuse to just go one-on-one with him throughout the whole game, because there's very few guards that can actually do what DeForest Buckner can stop DeForest Buckner on these situations. He's just going to long arm the right guard and then just push him back, get the leverage, go underneath, and then just end up sacking Russell Wilson and causing the fumble. And Russell Wilson's lucky to come out of this with it just being a sack. Just long arms him. And then DeForest Buckner, you get inside his grasp, Max. I mean, this is a dude that can change the game if you give him those opportunities for the one-on-ones.
Absolutely. It was great to see Buckner back out there and looking really healthy, healthier than he's been the past couple weeks. He's getting more comfortable with that brace on his left elbow, I believe it was. Yep. He had an elbow injury, and he's looking way healthier, way more comfortable out there. And Kirk Herbstreit was in awe of DeForest Buckner all game, it seems like, coming up from the college level and calling the game Thursday night. He was in awe of DeForest Buckner's size, of all 6'7", 340 of him. And who isn't in awe of DeForest Buckner? He's one of those physical freaks that you see in the NFL. And he's just impossible to stop with the one-on-one. Very rarely are you going to stop a 6'7", 340-pound defensive lineman who's as physical as DeForest Buckner.
All right, guys, so what you're going to see here is Matt Ryan just get rid of the football here on this. But the reason we show you this play, and Max will tell you a little more about it, I mean, if you want to understand what is going through the mind of Matt Ryan right now with this offensive line, this play embodies it right here. Because Matt Ryan's going to have time here for the first couple seconds. And then when the end does that stunt again, on the inside, comes from the outside to the inside, and Matt Pryor doesn't get a hold of him, watch Matt Ryan just be as quick as possible to get rid of this ball and fall on his back just in anticipation for this sack. And again, Matt Ryan just gets rid of it because he sees him coming and he's like, oh my gosh, I got to get rid of it quickly. I mean, if there's any more of what we need to understand, and this is also on Braden Smith, because Braden Smith and Matt Pryor were not in sync with one another in this game. That should have been on Braden Smith pulling off, getting the end coming in on his gap, and Matt Pryor taking the end. But again, a miscommunication and just the inability to switch. I mean, it was like that all night, Max, and you can totally understand why Matt Ryan is so hesitant to want to do anything.
Absolutely. We've seen this a couple of times already watching this film back. Matt Ryan, once the quarterback dips his eyes and stares at the protection, the play's dead. Once the quarterback starts thinking about the protection more than he is thinking about the open route runners, as you can see Philip Lindsay coming out of the backfield here, where he could have dumped it off before he got hit, actually. Once Matt Ryan ducks his head and his eyes is focused on the line because he thinks he's going to get hit almost every play, or rightfully so, because he is almost getting hit every play, the play's dead, and it's just a dead play. Done.
Here, guys, it's going to be another sack, this time a combined sack between DeForest Buckner and Yannick Ngakoue. just a few plays prior, the Broncos got the biggest play of the game that they had with that 50-yard throw to Cortland Sutton, where Rodney Thomas ended up getting tripped by the ref and couldn't make the play, where we thought he could have potentially had a pick. So the Colts were in a situation where, they had an unfortunate luck. And when it comes to this situation, a lot of defenses would have said, we can't stand this anymore. But not this Colts defense. They found a way to stop them even when they got inside the 20-yard line. Game seemed like it could have gotten out of hand right there. But this Colts bend but don't break defense showed up again. And here you're just going to see the right tackle never block Yannick Ngakoue. And DeForest Buckner beats the left guard. And then they just end up with a combined sack here. You see Kenny Moore come off the edge, but then the right tackle never blocks Yannick. And, of course, DeForest Buckner's happy about it. And Yannick, of course, is happy about it. I mean, Max, there's just one solid spot we could say about this team, man. Just imagine what if the offense could help this defense out. This defense is playing right now like it wants to be a top 5 defense.
Absolutely. The defensive line dominated in this Thursday night game against the Broncos. I wish I could say the same for the offensive line, even though they did open up holes in the wrong game. They struggled in pass protection. But this defensive line ate all night. Both offensive lines on both sides of the ball struggled all night. Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts offensive line struggled all night. And the football gods gave us back that Rodney Thomas trip play by the ref. I don't even know what to call that, honestly. I've never seen anything like that. Rodney Thomas probably would have picked that or that would have been a pass deflection. But the football gods gave us that one back when Grover Stewart blocked the field goal later in this drive. I think it was a play after this. And offense got put back on the field and did nothing again.
Here, guys, you're going to see a 2nd and long. The Broncos here are going to try and hit this wheel route with this tight end that's lined up in the backfield with Russell Wilson and the other running back. Cleveland's going to run a 10-yard hitch and in, and then Judy is just going to run a fade vertical out here to get Isaiah Rodgers away. And the whole goal is to try and get this tight end to have open field right in the middle, right on the outside of the left hash. And Kenny Moore here plays this ball beautifully, does a fantastic corner work where even though this guy catches the ball, Kenny gets his hand in to where the ball is and knocks this ball out of the hands of this tight end. And it's an amazing play. Kenny follows it. And it just gets that hand right in there and knocks that ball free. Don't know if you can see it from this angle or not. But you see Kenny, he's just going to follow this the whole way. He's just going to follow it the whole way. That ball gets there, and he gets that hand in there and knocks that free. That's beautiful corner play. And Max, we need to see more of this from Kenny Moore as we see this go on.
Absolutely. This is a great game played by Kenny Moore, as we highlighted earlier in this film series. Kenny Moore was getting toasted through the first 4 weeks of the season. There was not much good to highlight from Kenny Moore. Everyone was talking about, thank God, Chris Ballard. The one good move Chris Ballard made in the offseason was not paying Kenny Moore $10 to $15 million a year. But this looked like Kenny Moore of the old, and hopefully Kenny Moore can keep this up the rest of the season.
All right, guys. So one of the biggest plays of the game, the Stephon Gilmore interception just at the end of the 4th quarter. The Broncos 3rd down, worst case scenario for them. They don't get this. They kick the field goal. They go up a touchdown. Colts have a chance to make the touchdown, but they hadn't done that in a while. So Stephon Gilmore just absolutely ruins their dream here. He's going to be on Cleveland out here on the edge. And then you're going to have Judy running a crosser in the middle. You're going to have this wide receiver at the top of your screen just running a out route, a 5-yard out route. And what you're going to have here is you're going to have Rodney Thomas at the top of the screen here, come down into zone coverage with the linebackers, and all the corners are simply just playing man. And then you have Rodney McLeod staying back in the end zone as a deep man. And then Gilmore here gives the inside to the receiver, but Russell Wilson throws this ball late, and Gilmore just jumps it like the ball was intended for it. Gilmore was just all over him. The way Wilson wanted to throw that ball was not going anywhere. And Gilmore was just right there, and it was a beautiful throw, unfortunately, just to the wrong guy. Max, I think it's safe to say, like, he's him, man. Don't test him.
Yeah, he is him. Do not test Gilly Lock. He's going to be locked down on that receiver all night long. As you can see, I want to run this back again one more time. He's trailing the receiver, trying to bait Russell Wilson. He's staring him down the whole time. And Gilly is literally on this side of the field by himself. Everybody else is worrying about these three receivers on this side of the field. Like, literally the whole defense is on the left side of the field. Gilly's all alone on the right. They trust him enough to leave him on an island. He's trailing. Russell Wilson sees that he's trailing, and Gilly just jumps it. And then the offense goes on a drive next. Great complimentary football, and they put up a field goal and tie it up to go to OT.
And this play right here, guys, might have been the play of the game for the Indianapolis Colts. Not the defense, not the interceptions and the big plays by Gilly Lock, but this play right here, made by the rookie wide receiver Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati. A grinder. First week, Max, we were talking all week about the first week of the season, looked completely lost, and then had that concussion. And then ever since week 3, Alec Pierce has continued to get better week in and week out. You can see the work being done here. And really, this play right here is not just work. This is just determination to make a play here. So what you're going to see is you're not going to see Alec Pierce run this route, but it's a simple 15-yard curl route. And Matt Ryan's giving it time to develop. You're going to see Bradley Chubb on the right side go up against Ryman. Now, Bradley Chubb gets a piece of this ball on Matt Ryan. So this ball is going to look like a dying duck in the air. And the corner that was guarding Alec Pierce on the side had a great chance to make an interception on this, but somehow, some way, Alec Pierce pulls it out of his hands and ends up getting the huge first down when it should have been game. He gets tipped, and somehow that ball does not go, somehow goes through Harris's hands. And Max, I mean, I know you may have a differing opinion on this, but this catch right here, that is why you drafted him, and that's why, for me, that was the biggest play of the whole day, was that one right there, because if that gets picked, that's ball game.
Absolutely. This is why you picked him in the second round, like you just said. Bernhard Raimann gets flipped around, gets put on his back again by Bradley Chubb, who was going to be a tough assignment for him all night long anyway. Even Matt Ryan said after the game that he expected Bernhard Raimann to have struggles. He expected a rookie third-round pick who wasn't as polished as maybe Matt Ryan would have liked coming in. It took him some time, but Bernhard Raimann got his feet wet in this game. He got his feet wet against a Pro Bowler, and hopefully comes back stronger in the future. But yeah, Matt Ryan got the ball tipped. Alec Pierce made probably one of the best catches of the week in the whole NFL. And I think Alec Pierce is going to be a rising star. He is a rising star, and I think he is going to be a star for years to come for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I mean, he's been wide receiver 1 through the last 3 weeks. I mean, Alec Pierce has just been putting up big numbers over the last few weeks. And, you know, while touchdowns haven't been his thing, but again, eight catches for 81 yards in this game, was the leading receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, even ahead of Michael Pittman. I mean, he is getting targets, and I love it that he's taking advantage of his opportunities.
And I love that Matt Ryan is also trusting him a lot more than a lot of the other targets that Matt Ryan has at his disposal. The two targets I think Matt Ryan trusts the most is Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, and it's showing every game. Every game, Alec Pierce getting more and more involved after that bad Houston drop in the end zone. That probably would have won them the game. That probably was the difference of the game.
All right, guys. So the game-winning play, 4th down and goal. Broncos with a chance to win it. And Gilly Lock comes in and makes the play to win it. Now, there was the controversy of what you're going to see on the right side of your screen. So you have Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler here on this side. So what they run here on the right side is what a lot of teams will run at this part of the field, where Jeudy is going to pretend to run an out route, which is going to force Kenny Moore into Isaiah Rodgers. And Hamler's going to come on the inside of the route, running a slant, catch this ball, and it would be a walk-in touchdown. Now, fortunately for the Colts, Wilson never looks to this right side. He is looking for Sutton the whole way on the left side of the screen. But Gilly Lock, once he gets into the end zone, locks up with Sutton and never loses track of him and just makes a beautiful play on the ball. You have to feel for Hamler because, bam, right there, touchdown. Easy. I mean, there's a touchdown, about 3 seconds of that. But Gilly Lock coming in clutch and making this play. I mean, Max, at least we can say we're very lucky that Russell decided to not look to his right side.
Absolutely. We got extremely lucky because Russell Wilson usually does not miss those kind of throws. That's what made him so good throughout his career is in those clutch situations, is in those game-winning drives. And here he just flat out missed KJ Hamler coming over the middle. You see how frustrated KJ Hamler is after this play. He's throwing his helmet down. I'm sure everybody saw the replay of him throwing his helmet down, screaming in frustration after the game, and this brutal Denver Broncos offense failed to get the job done. However, this is why you brought Gilly Lock here. He had 2 great clutch games, or end-of-play games, against the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe it was, on the last drive, and here against the Denver Broncos, stopping them from scoring a touchdown in the last play of the game.
Yep. It's one of those things, man, and you take those lucky breaks every once in a while, but that's going to do it for this film breakdown, guys. Let us know your thoughts on this film, and if you guys liked it, what things you guys would improve on, or what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. But from Max and myself, thank you very much, and as always, guys, go Colts.